Hey, good evening, Browns fans. Thank you for joining me. This is the Burning River Browns Talk on the Fanatical Elves Network, the subsidiary of the Fans First Sports Network. Thank you very much for joining me. I am Lou Marconi at L Marconi251 on Instagram, and just to complicate things, at L Marconi 1973 on Twitter X. Thank you. I appreciate you guys joining me. Please comment, share, subscribe to the Fanatical Elves Network. We got a great network of people, a great group of people, I should say, and network of people sharing Browns content with you all the time. They're good guys. They're always great to get good information from. So, what I want to talk about tonight, I did an article that's going to be dropping tomorrow about the bankruptcy of the NFL receiver Antonio Brown and how that's a bigger problem than you realize with professional athletes and players. And also talk a little bit about the Browns practices that were going on today and just kind of from what I saw and what I've been seeing in the reports of it. So that's what we're going to talk about. And also just caught a very, I want to add to something that there's a video from the Ultimate Cleveland Brown show that I saw. G. Bush did a great job of explaining how this Watson trade isn't even close to being the worst trade of NFL history. It's absolutely ridiculous to say that, and it's interesting. It's very interesting. So, without any further ado, before we go any further, let's take a moment here to pause for a word from our sponsors. All right. Thank you. We're back. We're back. Thank you very much. Okay, guys. So here we are. Let's go first and foremost. Recently, it was reported that the former NFL wide receiver, 7-time Pro Bowler, Antonio Brown, had to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. It's just amazing the story that you see of a lot of professional athletes that go th- they make a lot of money in the NFL, but they for some reason they can't manage their finances, or people take advantage of them, and people decide to find out ways to grift them out of their money. So I wanted to talk a little bit more in depth about that because the article states there's actually a great documentary that came out 12 years ago. I saw it on Netflix. I'm not even sure if it's available there. It's called Broke. You can look it up on IMDb. Bernie Kosar was actually on it too because he filed for bankruptcy. And really, what happens is when you're a professional athlete, you'll have people that are friends or family that come out of the woodwork and try to basically get money from you because they know you have it. It's one of those things where it's everybody knows how much you signed for, everybody knows how much you're worth. Plus, a lot of players don't really have a like best of financial advice at times either, and they want to buy the Bentleys and live in a mansion and show off their wealth because they feel like, hey, you know what, I'm the best, I'm one of the, obviously I'm getting paid to be one of the best at what I do, therefore I'm gonna show off and have this ostentatious lifestyle, instead of thinking like, well, hey, I'm not going to be young forever. I should think for my future, maybe live a little bit more modestly and put the money away in a nest egg or put it in some sort of some sort of investment account or something. And you would hope that could be taken care of. But, not always everybody thinks like that. It's like that you only live once mentality, that YOLO, and they don't really wish to have that. So that's a big problem in not just the NFL, but it's also a lot of other sports leagues as well. One of the most interesting things about Antonio Brown is that how he ended his career. It was just absolutely um, horrible. He had this complete mental breakdown or just a complete meltdown where he left the field at MetLife Stadium shirtless. and and it's just crazy. It's just crazy that he pretty much got into an argument with the coaches in Tampa Bay, and he essentially walked off the field shirtless. And it was one of those things. It was a sad thing. It was just really. It was. he was a troubled guy. He had problems. He had problems when he was in Pittsburgh. He had problems when he was in with the Raiders. He had problems with the Patriots, and obviously it carried over to Tampa Bay too, the last team he played for. He did win a Super Bowl ring with Tom Brady in 2020. It was Tom Brady's last Super Bowl, and it's one of those things that you just hate. It's sad to see this happen. Other things, it's one of the points that I made was that the NFL could put in better safeguards and could put in better plans for players because most of the players on average in the NFL last 3.5 to 4 years at the most. And if you're making good money, that's a good living. But if you only play on average 4 years and you're making that kind of money, you're not going to make anything if you don't play. So there's better ways to invest your money and do things, and maybe there's other ways to think about your future and consider what else you could do. But I just think that the Antonio Brown saga, his saga, or what happened, is not a problem. It's more of a symptom of a problem where professional athletes um, need to have better support around them, whether it's from the league, whether it's from their agents, whether it's from their families, or all, just to deal with that. Because if I was in my early 20s and I had a pile of money thrown at me, I know compared to where I went, like from how I was 30 years ago to compared to now, yeah, I would have fucked it up too. I would have completely screwed it up. I would have been a mess if I would have been given all that money. I wouldn't have known what to do with what. Hopefully, I would have had a smart enough people around me and guidance to like say, no, 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 don't do that. So didn't happen that way though. Now, switching gears a little bit, the Browns practices are continuing this week. Saw video. I'm seeing Deshaun Watson's throws look fine. He looks great. Yes, it's only practice. Yes, there's no defense. Yes, there's no yes, there's no yes, there's no there's no pads. There's no hitting. There's no pass rush. But he hit this beautiful pass, the deep route to Elijah Moore in the practice. His shoulder's fine. He's going to be fine. He might even play in the preseason, but I wouldn't risk it. I wouldn't do that. And my man, my dog's podcast, same as Chandler Jones with the Raiders. Was he talking about going broke, going through all that money, or just having problems with the Raiders? I'm not sure what you mean by that because I just caught that. So if you want to add to it, go ahead, man. So honestly, going back with the Browns practices, Deshaun's looking great. It's not the worst trade in NFL history. It's not even close. People saying that, yeah, people, it is crazy. Absolutely, it is crazy. It's not the worst NFL trade in history. There was one just recently, Trey Lance trade. The 49ers gave up 3 first round picks to get this guy. They didn't spend the money they spent on Deshaun Watson that the Browns spent on Deshaun Watson, but 3 first round picks for a guy that's a backup with the Cowboys now. The last time I heard, Trey Lance, yeah, he was a horrible trade. How about what the Bears gave up to trade up to get Mitch Trubisky? Yeah, we drafted Miles Garrett in that draft. We also drafted David Njoku, and if I'm not mistaken, Jabril Peppers was our 3rd first round pick, and last I heard he was with New England, so he's not with the team anymore. But 2 of those guys hit. Fantastic talents on this team. Another one that was bad that people were talking about was the Colts trading for Carson Wentz. That was a bad trade. Uh, the Herschel Walker trade with the Vikings and the Cowboys. That was a horrible trade for the Vikings. The Ricky Williams New Orleans Saints trade. So there's a lot of very bad trades. Deshaun Watson and the $230 million on the quarterback, you're going to hear that a lot. 230, 230. He's like the ninth highest paid quarterback right now. And that was 2 years ago. That's it. It sounded crazy. It was all guaranteed. Yeah, it's all guaranteed. Oh no, the worst trade than Deshaun Watson, the Russell Wilson from Seattle to Denver. They gave up all that stuff. They paid him all this guaranteed money, and they cut him. He had 2 years left on his contract. They're paying this guy $85 million for the next 2 years to not play for them and go play in Pittsburgh for a year under the league minimum. That's really what he's doing. So yeah, this whole thing that Russell Wilson's going to be the worst. Why? It doesn't matter. I mean, do you do any research at all? It doesn't match up to what you're saying. Deshaun Watson is not the worst trade in NFL history. Now now keep in mind, I am going to say this with all that being said, he's not the worst trade in NFL history. He's not as of right now. There's 3 years left on his contract. He has to stay healthy. He has to play, and he has to play at a high level. Top 10, top five. Well, let's say top 10. Deshaun Watson playing top 10 quarterback play on this team goes to the AFC Championship. Period. This team goes to the AFC Championship. With this defense and the team around him, absolutely. This is a Super Bowl caliber team with a healthy, productive Deshaun Watson and a healthy and productive Nick Chubb. Absolutely. No doubt about it. So when you hear these national people talking about stuff, right now it's a slow time of the year. They're trying to figure things out. They're trying to find content to talk about. Oh yeah, let's just bring up the Browns and shit on them. That's really what they're doing because they're lazy. They can't do a Google search for trades that were worse than the Browns trade 2 years ago for Deshaun Watson. I mean, really? Yeah, but his legal troubles, you could say, okay, I wouldn't have touched him because of his legal troubles. He was never charged with anything. He wasn't. Two grand juries would not indict him. So don't know the entirety of the facts of the case. I'm just stating a fact that two grand juries would not indict Deshaun Watson. But hey, that's it. So I'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk some more. Probably talk more about the Browns practices and anything else that comes on my mind. But I do like the fact that other local media, Cleveland media, are saying, "Hey, wait a second, this isn't the worst trade in NFL history. It's not even close." And the national people just don't follow the Browns close enough to understand that. So I'm here to let you know that I'll be back again tomorrow night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. My Dog's Podcast. Thanks for the shout out, man. You have a great day, Thoreau. And anytime you need anything, you just reach out. Guys, always remember when the river burns, it burns brown and orange. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow night.